Time for vlog number 2. Yeah, vote, 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 vote. I cannot vote. Like, I don't, how do you do it? Are there like free Vogue classes for Pride? Let me know. I'll come, I'll pull up. I have a lot of sewing to do today, but I have a story for you first. And it's gonna be very important for my artists. So let's pop a squat. All right, now that we're nice and comfy, I want to tell you a story about how I had to sue an art gallery for damaging my artwork. Now, I'm not gonna go into the nitty-gritty of the case, but I did just have my court date yesterday, and I am very, very pleased and overjoyed to share that I won a settlement for the damages caused by the gallery. And I'm just very proud of myself. I'm very grateful to the legal counsel that I had help me. So I had 2 family friends who are both attorneys. One of them, she helped me from the time of the incident in October 2024. This was a long process. I did not want to go to court. I wanted to mediate this amicably, like outside of court, but I do think there's a lesson in everything, and one of the biggest lessons that I learned here, oh, also, I had another attorney, my friend, he was the one who represented me in court yesterday, and so being able to walk away with a settlement in my favor, and just to know that I got justice for my artwork, justice was served yesterday. There are a few lessons that this whole experience, this whole 7-month, November, because the incident happened October 20th, so we'll just say November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So let's say it was just a little over 7 months of going back and forth, putting together evidence, building a case against this gallery, and having to take the woman who owns the gallery to court was not on my bingo card. It really was not. I'm a Libra. I like peace. I like harmony, you know, and this just was not harmonious. It wasn't. But what I did learn is, as an artist, you need to always know your rights. There is a Georgia law that protected me as an artist, and an artist who entered into a contractual agreement with a gallery. So I highly encourage you, if you are an artist who does art shows, especially in the emerging artist space, that's when we are most vulnerable. And in my time of prayer and fasting leading up to this case, I really sat with God and I was like, you know, what could I have done differently to avoid this? Because I do believe that in every situation, unsavory, unpleasant situation, there is a lesson behind it. And a lot of times we can take that lesson and adjust and strengthen our own spiritual abilities so that we can avoid repeating that lesson over and over and over again. And so for me, I was like, how did I allow this to happen? Because I must have done something to allow this experience to come into my life. What was it that I did, or what mindset was I in? And I realized, you know, through that time of just like reflection, I was acting from a place of desperation. That's another thing. As artists, you know, when you're in the emerging artist stage of your career, you want to get all the shows. And at the end of last year, after my artwork was damaged, I did a huge rebrand, and I was like, no, like, I need to be my own gallery. I need to be my own boutique. I cannot keep moving out of this desperation to be validated by a third party who is trying to take 50% of my profit. Anyways, so long story short, yeah, you know, going to court, it was super stressful. I literally feel like I have this huge burden just taken off of my back because I was just not really myself these last few months. Like, I felt like I had to be on my guard, like I had a bit of my guard up, and I was really just reflecting a lot. And another thing as an artist, I would say that I learned from this whole experience is be careful who you enter into business with. This kind of goes back to the whole moving from desperation thing, but my discernment and my intuition told me that this would be an interesting agreement because there was already drama between the co-organizers of the event. And I'd say another lesson that I want to leave you with before we go into the fun part of today's vlog, because it's not going to be super serious, but this court date did just happen yesterday, and I had to like let it sink in that this whole ordeal is finally over. Well, over-ish. Obviously they still have to like pay me the money and everything, but that was court ordered, so it's gonna happen. And I can rest assured that, okay, yeah, this is like, nobody wants to go through this process ever again. Definitely take the time to make sure the stipulations and contracts that you sign as an artist protect you. And if there are certain stipulations and clauses missing from a contract, do not hesitate to advocate for them to be included. A lot of things, there's a lot of, you never know what's gonna happen in the art world. I mean, ideally, you would want to hope that galleries and professionals in the art world would move from a place of professionalism, but that is just not always the case. People are not always going to be moving in good faith. And so as an artist, it is your responsibility to protect your interests as a brand, as an artist, as a creative entrepreneur, as a business owner. And yeah, listen to your intuition, listen to your discernment. Do not move from a place of desperation. Do not be afraid to stand up to bullies in the art world. As I document my journey on this channel, I really want to keep it a buck. I want to be so real with y'all about what it means to be a professional artist, what it means to be a professional fashion designer. Like, there are very real aspects of this journey that are not always glamorous. Yeah, you may see the art shows and the recap, and it's fun. Like, for the most part, I would say this job is very fun. However, there are legalities that you really want to make sure you are on top of. So yeah, huge lesson learned. Be careful who you do business with. Don't move from a place of desperation. Source your validation from how in tune you are with your God-given mission. I thank God for this favorable court judgment in my favor. Like, oh, hallelujah. This is really a testimony because, man, I was stressed. I was stressed. Okay. While I will never find myself in this position again. I'm gonna put some photos up on the screen of the dresses I'm looking at on Pinterest for inspiration. I'm gonna get started on this. Yeah, go from there. What I'm doing right now is I'm kind of like cutting it how I would want it to be. So I'm going to pin this after I cut it. Like, I'm gonna cut the dress on the mannequin and join it together and then try it on. It is going to be like a deep V and a low back. The skirt, what I need to do is lift it up and then join it with the top. We gotta show the ankle. And there's going to be a slit on this side, on my left side. But so there's a lot going on right now. What I am going to do first is I'm going to just sew this part so it's fine, and then I'm going to adjust the skirt to where I know I want it to be, and I'm going to sew those together. Guess what just came in? Here's a notebook from my stationery line. So let's head on over to my studio and unbox it. I'm actually really excited. I feel like it's a great idea to unbox with y'all, and we can both get a first look at it. I'm really excited. Wow, this is like really hard to open. When you order your stationery, it's gonna come in a very secure package like this. I don't play. I don't want my deliveries to come to y'all in any way, shape, or form damaged, but I'm not gonna lie, this is a little bit hard to open. What in the world? Okay. Okay, so these are the spiral notebooks. Oh my gosh. Ah. Okay, that's one. And then this is another one. Oof, okay. My selfie light is kind of doing a lot. I don't know why the lighting is just crazy right now, but I hope you can kind of like get a better idea of it because it's kind of making it look washed out. But these are cute, so I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. It's a dotted page. These are just great for like sketching, jotting down notes.
So happy to share my work with the world.
Okay, no, but seriously, okay, I'm gonna take the camera off the tripod and just show you guys what they look like. This is what they look like. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Like I said, dotted pages. But let's get into the art. So these are also available as canvas prints. Of course, Alaere Lifestyle. But yeah, very cute, very cute. I'm just so happy with how they look. By yours truly. Period. Yeah, so all of my stationery is available for purchase at www.alaerelifestyle.com. If you go to the boutique and go to Alaere Stationery, you can buy all three. So the hardcover journal is actually on its way to me. I should be receiving that this weekend, hopefully. But if not, I'll show it to y'all in a different video or like a YouTube short. But those are the spiral books, and I'm just really happy with how they look. Now let's get into the dress. Here I'm just sewing everything together. This is a very therapeutic part of the design process, for me at least. I really like draping on the mannequin, but I also really like just sewing everything and kind of treating it as if it's a collage, and I am the beautiful canvas that will debut the design. So I get to be really intentional and just slow down and focus on how I want the dress to come out during this part. So yeah, I definitely recommend designing and sewing just as a peaceful hobby, even if you don't want to do it as a profession. This really does get me to a place of zen and flow state. Alrighty, so we have adjusted the top. This is gonna be very cute. I'm actually very excited to attach it to the skirt just so I can see what I'm working with. I wasn't too concerned about some of the imperfections with the hemming and everything, just because by the time I sew the top fabric onto this, it's not gonna show. So this is just, like I said, the lining. So I think this is actually low-key good practice for me in terms of working with two different fabrics, because I have this dream dress in my head where it's like satin and then this like bejeweled, bedazzled, or maybe not bedazzled, but this embroidered, like with beads and stones and just like really sparkly lace fabric on top of the satin. And so I just have it in my head. I would really like to construct a dress where those two elements go together. So I think this is going to be good practice for me. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see how the dress turns out. I'm gonna attach this to the skirt. So I just tried on the skirt. It was a lot. I didn't feel like recording that process, but I have marked where I'm gonna take it in. So it's just my first day out here, twin. Like, I don't know, I've never done something like this before. I have made some progress. I tried it on. I'm about to attach everything. I am really happy with what I've accomplished today. I've made a lot of progress and it was really fun, but I want to keep it that way. So tomorrow what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut out the slit like I said, and then I'm going to map out how I'm going to attach the sparkly orange fabric that I showed y'all in the first video. You know what? If you haven't seen that, I'm just gonna show it to you now. This is the fabric I'll be putting on top. I think it's gonna be very pretty. I'm so excited like to wear this and just be shining, 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 yeah. This better be me walking up into the function. I'm gonna just be so happy when this is done. But yeah, I'm happy with how it's turned out. The only note I will say is that taking in the skirt was a bit tricky, I'm not gonna lie. So once I attach everything, I think it's my booty. Pulling the dress over my bum bum was a little hard. It was a little difficult, I'm not gonna lie, but it's like I always encounter that because of the way I have more of like an hourglass shape, and so it's cute in pictures. I like my shape, don't get me wrong. However, I think navigating like proper fitting for clothing can be a little bit tough, and that's why I tend to wear fabrics that, you know, have a little bit of stretch to them. And so Ankara doesn't really have the most stretch to it, which can be frustrating. So I'm definitely going to keep that in mind when I do develop the fabric, when I do develop the samples, like, because obviously I'm just using the fabric I had on hand. If I could choose, I would choose something that's still as durable as this, however just like slightly with a slight stretch to it. But yeah, so this is gonna go on top of this and it's gonna be very pretty. 8:48 right now, so yeah, I'm gonna just get her done and eat some ice cream, Talenti to be exact. So yeah, let me just go ahead and get this sewn. Another thing I'm gonna have to do besides attaching the dress is like slightly adjust the side, because when I put it on, I wanted it to be a little bit more streamlined on the side. So yep, yeah, all right.